guys, welcome to my way overdue Instagram 10k Q&A. Today I'm drawing my entry for the art of Maxine V's 100k Draw This in Your Style. I'm not really sure it counts as an entry since I strayed pretty far from the original, but while I draw, I'll be answering some questions sent in through Instagram. I tried to answer all the questions that were sent in, but I did combine some to simplify things. Okay, let's start with an easy one. How old are you? How old are you? How are you years old? I'm 29.7. When did you start on your art path? How long have you been an illustrator? How did you start as an illustrator? How long have you been drawing? How, where, and when did you learn that you loved art? How did you start with doing commissions? And have you had any interesting experiences? Well, I've been drawing pretty much since I can remember, so art has always been a part of my life. But I started taking it more seriously about 3.5 years ago when I got my first iPad Pro. I remember watching the Apple conference when they announced it, and I knew right away I just needed one. That way I could do art all the time and not have to lug around any tools. So illustration isn't my full-time job yet, but I'm aiming for that by the end of 2020. I've been making an income from illustration for only about a year though. I actually just started getting DMs on Instagram from people asking for commissions. And I've still never advertised that I do this, but I still get plenty of requests and I'm happy to say I've only had good experiences so far. What is your favorite food? Yikes. That's kind of impossible to answer. I'm not gonna call myself a foodie, but I do enjoy a lot of different foods and love cooking. But I guess the things we eat very often, at least once a week, is Mexican food, chicken stew, and eggs Benedict. Are you a full-time artist or do you work another job alongside of your art? Since we were just on the topic of food, we actually have a healthy food blog called livingtherapy.com, which is technically my day job and has been for about 5 years now. I put a link in the description if you like healthy food and want to check that out. How much time a day do you devote to illustration? So, I only really have free time when my kids nap and after they go to sleep, which is about an hour during the day and 3-ish hours at night. But I don't use all of that for illustration. I would say on average I spend about 2 hours a day most days, sometimes more, sometimes less. Tips for beginner artists. How did you grow as an illustrator, your followers, and as an illustrator yourself? Advice for complete beginners. Can you please give me some advices? My number one advice is practice, 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 and don't stress too much about anything else. If you're talking about Instagram specifically, be consistent and be genuinely engaged in the community. If you want me to go more in depth on this topic, I can make a whole separate video on it. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. If you had to name one thing that makes your art so amazing, thank you. I don't really know how to answer the question though. I guess I get a lot of compliments about my color palette and the simplicity of my illustrations. If you have a better answer, please let me know in the comments. Not a question, but I must admit your arts are so beautiful. Thank you. How do you draw so beautifully? Thank you. How did you find your art style? By the way, I really love your artworks. It's so cute and it inspires me. Thank you. How did you find your style? How do you find your art style? Is it okay that artists don't have an art style? How did you come to the style you currently create? Honestly, I feel like I found my art style when I stopped looking for it, when I stopped stressing about it. But my art style isn't set in stone. I constantly discover new things that influence my style and it's always evolving. That's why my number one tip for finding your art style is to stop looking. Your art style is already inside of you and it's a mixture of things you like and are inspired by. When you focus on practicing your drawing skill, your style will naturally emerge. Just trust me on this, for what it's worth. Many of your favorite artists probably also have different styles, so don't worry about that at all. For example, I can make decent realistic pencil drawings and I enjoyed painting flowers and leaves for a time. That's all very different from my current style that I post on Instagram, and that's fine. It's all part of it and it all influences your art journey. Do you have any pets? Right now, we don't have any of our own pets, but the family dogs that's been around forever are these 3 rats. Wolfie, Tinky, and Nielsie. How do you make the colors on your feed consistent? So, the color palette that I use is something that is just slowly developed over time. And since I enjoy having a consistent feed, I stick to my color palette. But just as with your art style, your color style is constantly evolving. Like, if you scroll down my feed, you'll see that I use some different colors now than just a few months ago. Favorite color? Well, my color palette pretty much represents my current favorite colors, but if I had to pick just one, it would be green. Let's try to say, Hi, Selamat Malam. I hope I didn't butcher that. How did you start your shop? How is it doing? Tips. So, the beauty of an online shop is that you don't really need much to start, so I just did it. So, if that's something you want, just do it. Mine is still very new and I'm learning as I go, so I don't have any tips yet. Right now I only sell digital downloads aimed at journalers, and it's doing amazing actually. I didn't expect it to pick up so quick. New mom here, how do you manage your art business and babies, toddlers? So my art business isn't my main business at the moment, our food blog is. My husband and I both work on it from home, and to be honest, it feels impossible to get things done most days. We take turns to work while the other entertains the kids, but it's still tough. We actually just got 2 VAs to help manage our social media and writing for the food blog, and I think that will help a lot with freeing up time for me to spend on my art business. Did you try to draw realistic? Actually, I tried, but it's just not my thing. Have a nice day. I actually mostly drew realistic pencil drawings for most of my life. Stylizing is relatively new to me, and something I only started doing when I got my first iPad Pro in 2017. I do think practicing realistic drawings from reference is very good for beginners, to help develop your drawing skills and give you an eye for capturing shapes accurately. Your favorite movie? I don't have one single favorite movie, but there's a few that I've always loved and have watched many, many times. The Truman Show, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, Stranger Than Fiction, About Time, Moulin Rouge, Simone, Contact, Samsara, and a recent movie I absolutely loved was Jojo Rabbit. Go watch it. Puedes hablar español? Solo un poco. Entiendo más de lo que hablo. I hope I said that right. I actually spent over a year trying to learn Spanish after high school because I wanted to go to Spain as an au pair, but I ended up going to Germany instead. How do you think this will take you further in life? If by this you mean illustration in general, I definitely think it enriches my life because at the moment it really makes me happy to create cute little illustrations. And if it also pays the bills, I definitely think it takes me further. But if you meant where I hope it will take me in life, I would really like to do a children's book one day. Where do you find inspiration? Who are your sources of inspiration? I would say that daily life is my main source of inspiration. Like the shenanigans my kids get up to, the funny things they say, or even seeing a pretty flower or landscape. Also seeing the amazing art when reading books to my kids or scrolling through Instagram. Artists that I love and that inspire me daily with their creativity and skill are, please don't judge my pronunciation here, Franerd, Iraval, Rebecca Green, Shelley Illustrates, Pascal Campion, Cara Can Draw, Schmo Draws, Marlus Devi, I Am Zeffirino, and also Caroline Pietrowski, who's actually the first artist I found on Instagram. And back in the day, she used to draw lots of little comics that still inspires me. There's so many actually, but these artists come to mind first. Okay, last ones. What is your favorite thing about being an artist? What's the bit you like best and least of being an illustrator? Let's start with the things I like the least. Maybe when you take a commission and you don't feel super inspired by it, so it becomes a bit of a struggle. Luckily, that doesn't happen super often. Or when you get art block, or maybe when you have a vision and your creation doesn't turn out quite the same as it looked in your head. Then I guess my favorite thing is capturing those insignificant little moments that happen during the day might be forgotten otherwise, especially with my kids. Also, being able to work from pretty much anywhere. So that was everything. Thank you so much for sending in the questions, and if there's something else you want to know or something I didn't answer, please leave a comment, and let's do this again soon. Bye.